individually and the role of media. For that, we have with us a resource person for the session today, Dr. Nirmala Mani Adhikari, sir. But before going to the technical session, I would like to read out sir's achievement in his academic career. An associate professor at the Department of Languages and Mass Communication in Kathmandu University, Nepal. He is the author and editor of as many as 50 published books. 70 research articles are published to his credit. He has also published hundreds of popular articles. Welcome you, sir. Now we start with the technical session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Namaskar. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank my long-time friend Professor Nayak and the whole family of Royal Global University Assam for inviting me in this faculty development program. The topic given for me is universal human values and the role of media. First of all, I would like to present from my side, and then I'll take queries from you, then we will have a discussion. So, first of all, whenever we talk about universal human values, let us start with what does it stand for. So, as the terminology universal human values suggests, it refers to human values that are considered universal. So, human values and universal, these are the keywords here. So, values that are considered applicable to all humans, irrespective of geography, nationality, ethnicity, culture, religion, and so on. These are called universal human values. So, when we say universal human values, the very concept, it involves assumption that there are certain values as the essence of existence and humans shall live in harmony with it. So the values, any kind of value, it has to be universally applicable to all human beings for all time and all places. Otherwise, it would not be termed as universal human values. And whenever we say universal human values, it involves the process of selection, preference, and acceptance of certain values for life. Because in our life there are so many values, and we can select among them. And there is always priming of different values, and some of the values, they shall be accepted for our life. So there is diversity, there is plurality, there are alternatives among the values. That is why some values are selected, preferred, and accepted for life. So whenever we say universal human values, it is considered that it helps to develop a holistic world vision and perspective about life. So it is always about the betterment of our life. So whenever we say universal human values, it is related to perception towards and goals of human life. Like, what is human life? What is it for? Until and unless people start thinking in this way, then there will be no relevance for universal human values or any kind of human values. So the first and foremost thing is starting to think about the human life and what is it for. And it is always contextual to moral philosophy. So philosophy is very broad, and one of the branches is moral philosophy. And whenever we call universal human values, it is always contextual to moral philosophy. What kind of moral philosophy one subscribes, it depends on that. That is why there are so many scholars who are critical about universal human values. There are so many who say, okay, human values, they are common. There are at least certain human values that can be accepted as universal values. But there are others who are critical to this, because the very concept of universality is not uncontested, it is always contested. Whose universality and who has the power to define? So there is totalizing tendency and one-sidedly presumed universality in the world. It has been seen especially during the colonial time period and even after that. That is why there are concepts like decolonization, post-colonialism, and even de-westernization. So whenever we say universal human values, we shall think of two things. One, yeah, there is trend to identify certain values as universal human values, but at the same time there are others who will contest that idea. Values are always contextual. It depends on culture, it depends on, let us say, religion, it depends on education, it depends on even political system. So both kind of arguments are there. So whenever we see universal human values, especially let us say quote unquote in the mainstream. So yes, Schwarz is well-known scholar who defined values as conceptions of the desirable that influence the way people select action and evaluate events. So two things are here. One, people select certain actions, and not only that they do certain things according to their perceived values, but they evaluate others, what they are doing. So they become value judgmental. He hypothesized that universal values would relate to three different types of human needs: biological needs, social coordination needs, and needs related to the welfare and survival of groups. When we come to Hinduism, human life must have three-dimensional goals and values: Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. Here we can compare. According to Schwarz, the three dimensions or three types are biological needs, social coordination needs, and needs related to the welfare and survival of the groups. Here, in the context of Hinduism, life would be Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. So our three-dimensional life would, let us say, subscribe to most commonly mentioned human values. When I tried keywords in context search, then the most commonly mentioned human values were love, truth, right conduct, peace, and non-violence. So these were the most commonly used human values. Maybe Schwarz and others would like to mention these as universal human values. So if we come to our part of the world, then we find 10 characteristics of dharma described by Manu. And especially in our civilization, be it Hinduism, be it Buddhism, be it Jainism, dharma, or in Pali dhamma, is the core concept around which everything revolves. And when Manu discusses about dharma, then he certainly is giving priority to certain values, and these are called Dasa Lakshan, 10 characteristics of dharma. And we know there is the concept of Panchashila by Buddha, and there is a concept of Pancha Mahavrata by Tirthankara Mahavira. So there is famous sloka, Dhriti Chema Damosteyam Sauchamindriya Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyama Krodho Dasakam Dharma Lachanam. So these 10 characters certainly propagate human values. Whether these are universal or not, it depends on the context. But we can see, like Buddha, Panati Pata, Musabada, Adinna Dana, Kami Sumicha Chara, Swameya Japa Madathana. So five principles. Then Mahavira, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha. These are well-known things. That is why I am not explaining this. I have just mentioned. So Schwarz, he has identified 10 universal human values. So according to him, power, achievement, hedonism, stimulation, self-direction, universalism, benevolence, tradition, conformity, and security. These are the 10 universal human values. And anthropologists at the University of Oxford have discovered what they believe to be 7 universal moral rules. In a way, these are 7 universal human values according to their research. The following were found in a survey of 60 cultures from all around the world, like help your family, help your group, return favors, be brave, defer to superiors, divide resources fairly, and respect others' property. So if we compare, there are some commonalities, but certainly there are uniqueness as well. So today's topic has two parts. One is universal human values, about which I discussed little bit, and now next thing is the role of media. How media would contribute for, let us say, promoting the human values, universal human values. So when we say this, then we shall be very clear which part we are concerned with, because whenever we say media, then media has various dimensions. Media is a social institution, media is an industry, media is a legal entity as well. Media provides let us say jobs for so many people. It's profession of many people, and it involves professional communicators, it involves regulators, it involves let us say owners, it involves the target audience. But here the concern is more on media content. Whenever we say the role of media and universal human values, then the concern is how media can take universal human values or any other human values and how it can contribute for the mainstreaming, for the promotion of the human values. So the first and foremost thing is, for media, it is a content related to any phenomena related to human values, any event, any publication, anything. Okay, any talk show. But content is the key thing here. Whenever we discuss about role of media regarding universal human values, the first and foremost question to ask is, do media have impact or effect? Okay, generally people think media do have effect, but research does not show the same all the time. Especially when we go to media effects theories, then we can see two different schools of thought. Like I have taken one theory, play theory, which says, okay, to talk about the effect of media is in fact a jaundiced view, an ideology. Media shall be taken just as an instrument for entertainment, play. So media shall not be overburdened with the responsibility of effect. So there are some theorists who argue in that way. But there are so many other theorists who say media do have effects. That is why there are a large number of media effects theories. So first of all, the starting point to think over is, do media have impact or effect? There are some who argue media do not have any impact, they are just instruments, they are just tools for entertainment. But there are so many others who have argued and who have been working in the effect side. So that is why there are so many media effects theories. What we can say from this comparative discussion, okay, it seems media do have effect to certain extent. But what kind of effect? How do they affect? That is another thing. Then another point to discuss is, okay, then if media do have effect, what kind of effect? If we go to literature, relevant literature, then we can see two types of theories. One emphasizing on anti-social effects of media contents, and another emphasizing on pro-social effects of media contents. And this argument is not new. If we go to, for instance, Plato and Aristotle and take example of literature, how did they argue? Okay, Plato said literature corrupts people. Literature will have negative impact on people. And whereas Aristotle argued that literature, drama, all these things, it may have cathartic impact on the people. Okay, so narcotic versus catharsis approaches, they were there even in the ancient times. Even here in our part, we can see that. In Natya Shastra, there was discussion, but how it was resolved? Natya, dramas and songs, music, all these will have positive impact on people. Likewise, when there was advent of media, be it radio, be it television, be it film, or let us say these digital media. So people argued. Some of them were worried about their negative impact. Even today it is happening. And some of them emphasized on their positive impacts. So this is why if we go to media effects theories, then there are a number of theories emphasizing on anti-social effects of media contents, and there are others who are emphasizing on pro-social effects of media contents. And that gave birth to development communication. If people would not believe media would have positive effects, then there would be no logic to have this field called development communication. And all the regulations regarding media, they are due to the fear of anti-social effects of media content. So whenever we say role of media, these things shall be considered. If media do have anti-social effects, then they will not be proper instrument for promoting universal human values. But if they are tools for pro-social effects, then obviously they will have a role in this regard. And how it has been settled? Okay, there are people who have been arguing media do have negative effects mostly, but okay, there is some scope, at least some scope for positive effect as well. Then okay, do media really affect? This kind of research questions were also there. Many scholars, they worked on it. Many researchers, they have done surveys, ethnographies, they have done observation, and based on that they have come up even experiments, okay, like Garner did. So if we see what were the outcome of those research, then we can see in the earlier phases many researchers, they concluded that media are very powerful. And we shall see this in the context of old history, like in Russia. First Lenin, then Stalin, and the whole Communist Party used media for propaganda purpose, and they successfully brainwashed people. In Italy, Mussolini and the fascist party, they used especially print media and brainwashed people. Okay, Hitler was successful in using mostly radio to brainwash the people. And in the US, basically the market was very successful to use media to, let us say, brainwash the people, or at least to persuade the people to buy certain products like Marlboro cigarette. Okay, so many beauty products, so many, let us say, generally unnecessary consumer items. People were in a way brainwashed to purchase that. So seeing all these evidences, the researchers concluded that okay, media do have direct and immediate impact over the people. Whether they do have a negative or positive impact, it depends on who controls the media and what kind of contents are given. If positive contents are given continuously, then there will be positive impact. If negative contents are given continuously, then there will be negative impact. Some of them argued that okay, it is not so easy to have positive impact as compared to the negative impact, because negative things, yeah, they are disseminated quite faster. This is also argued, but all of them basically accepted that, okay, showing their data that media have very powerful existence in the society. But later on, like during the 1940 presidential election in the US, people were interviewed, they were surveyed about their media usage, and especially the interest was on how their decision making was influenced by the media. And the outcome was, okay, media do not seem to have such powerful effect. Media, yeah, certainly they do disseminate information and people get information from media, but for the decision making, they do not wholly depend on media, but they depend more on the advices by the opinion leaders. So the very concept of human intermediacy or limited effects paradigm, media will have very limited effects. Then, okay, so what? If we are thinking to promote universal human values and we are going to employ media for that, then if media to have very powerful impact, then okay, we can expect that our effort will make a change in the society. But if it would have a very limited effect, then okay, promoting universal human values through media would be just one of many alternatives. And when the research continued, we can say that the latest paradigm is negotiated media effects paradigm. Like in all powerful media, we can have hypodermic needle theory. In case of limited effects paradigm, we can have theory of opinion leadership, and negotiated media effects paradigm like agenda setting theory. What is told in agenda setting theory? Okay, people can be made what to think about. If different media give coverage to certain issues time and again, then people would think, okay, this matter seems very important, we shall bother about this matter. But it is not that. Media can make them what is to think. Let us have a distinction between them. What is to think about? Okay, in this dimension, media do have, let us say, impressive role. But what is to think? That will not depend only on media coverage. People will decide based on other things as well, like their ideological background, like their affiliation to certain organizations, like their religious belief, like their cultural practices, and so on. That is why it is called negotiated media effects paradigm. Okay, if contemporary society is as described by this negotiated media effects paradigm, then our communication strategy to use media for the promotion of universal human values would be certainly different than the all-powerful media paradigm. And this one is the contemporary negotiated media effects paradigm. So what we can say, the media would have some level of impact. The media would have some level of role, but media are not the sole agencies in this regard. So media do have certain impact. We have come to this point, but the impact is not necessarily always positive. That is why there are concepts of functions and dysfunctions of media. What are the functions? The positive things media do, they are considered under functions, and the negative things, they are dysfunctions. For instance, media can be an agent for linkage. Media technology, we can say, like this one. I am connected to this event organized by the Assam Royal Global University and addressing you. So this linkage is good, but if terrorists are linked using the media, then it would certainly have a negative impact in the society. Like so many scams we can see happening. So these are dysfunctions of media. So whenever we are planning for any communication strategy in the context of universal human values, we want to promote them, then we shall think, okay, there can be dysfunctions as well, dysfunctions by others, and even it is not that whatever we disseminate through media, that would be let us say decoded by the audiences in the exact manner that we expect. Media contents, they are polysemic, having multiple meanings, and sometimes what we intend to say, actually what we have disseminated, that may not give the exact meaning to the audiences. So it's not so easy. Sometimes those who haven't let us say studied media very intensively, they feel media do have more power, more effect. But whenever we go to go inside the media industry, then we can find there are multiple factors and the things are not so straightforward. So then how to make positive media effects? Like national education policy in India, it has included universal human values. It wants to promote that. Even in case of Nepal, now even the government side, they are emphasizing on having more, let us say, moral education, having human value education from the let us say school level. So all concerned officials, even media professionals, okay, at least in words, they all want to promote positive things. But how to make positive media effects? It is not so easy. As evident from the discussion so far, the theories are in fact outcome of research conducted by researchers, media scholars, experts, and they show that media do have a certain level of impact, but it's not so straightforward. There are multiple factors. Whenever we say media effects, then we started from the contents, obviously, but how that content gets coverage, how that content is aired, whether certain thing is given, let us say, coverage in the newspaper, in the magazine, or during the broadcast, it depends on so many other factors. Like ownership, who owns the media, and the owner, he or she or they have different interests, and who controls. Sometimes the owners, they may control, but it is not the same all the time. The government may control, the NGOs and INGOs, they may control, missionaries, religious missionaries, they may control, or let us say the rich people, they may control. They may not have direct investment, but they may control through advertising revenue. Or politicians, they may control the media through their political power. So who owns and who controls, that has direct impact on the media content. And regulation, what kind of regulation is there in the country? Not only legal regime, but how it is implemented. And support systems like advertising, like distribution system, like music industry, and so on. How they support the media, whether they become asset or they become liability. All these have impact on this. And obviously the market size, the nature of the market. After all, media enterprises are profit-making enterprises in the contemporary society. Okay, there were people like Mahatma Gandhi. He emphasized on, let us say, service aspect of the journalism. So he argued that if media take advertisements, then media cannot serve the people. But the contemporary media, let us say, largely it is dependent on advertising revenue. Not only that, okay. So it is famously said that earlier newspapers were sold after printing. After being printed, they would be sold in the market. Now, okay, it is alleged that newspapers are sold before being printed. So what they actually carry would be the paid news. The same is valid for online news portals, same is valid for television, same is valid for radio, and so on. And finally, media literacy. How people understand the media landscape, how do they understand the use of media, whether they are actually able to use media for their good or not. All these depend. And if there would be more emphasis on media literacy, then it is likely that there would be more role of media for promoting universal human values. So here, what I would like to emphasize is on instrumentality of media literacy to promote universal human values. If there is more media literacy among the people, among the general users, then the media would be compelled to work in a positive way, in that way which benefits the common people. So this is why I have put one example here. For instance, I have taken one course that we have implemented here in our university, at Kathmandu University, under the Department of Languages and Mass Communication. We have Bachelor in Media Studies and also Masters in Media Studies and PhD courses. So I have taken one example from Masters in Media Studies, in which media literacy course is implemented. If we see its aims and the contents, then we can relate how media can be used for promoting universal human values. Like, this course is aimed at enhancing the ability of the students to access, analyze and evaluate the media messages and develop critical understanding of the functions of media. So since this is a formal course, students are mentioned, but if we see the wider society, then it is media literacy would be aimed at enhancing the ability of the common people to access, analyze and evaluate the media messages and develop critical understanding of the functions of media. So it also aims at enabling the students to consider their own positions as consumers of media by facilitating to learn how to ask critical questions about the intended audience and underlying purpose of media messages, and study factors which can contribute to bias and affect credibility. It deals with building the reading and critical thinking skills required in contemporary society that is witnessing both the traditional and non-traditional media saturated with diverse messages, digital environments and social networking. So to understanding all kinds of media, traditional media and the non-traditional media, above the line media or below the line media, all kinds of media. First understanding them, then understanding what kind of contents they give, then understanding the underlying purpose of media messages, reading between the lines, even to understand what is not there. Okay, so okay, and another area which I have been working is, some of you may already know, I have constructed Sadharanikaran Model of Communication that was first constructed in 2003, and it has been developed over the years. And recently there was an international seminar on 2 decades of the Sadharanikaran Model of Communication, and the core concept of the Sadharanikaran Model is Saridayata. Saridayata can be seen as the core of the universal human values. If we consider there can be some value which is universal, then I found Saridayata that can carry all the human values we mentioned earlier. What is Saridayata? Saridayata is the state of common orientation, commonality, mutual understanding, or oneness. There is concept of rasa and bhava. I don't think I have sufficient time to deal with that, but you know, Bharat Muni has discussed a lot about this. There is the rasa theory of Bharat Muni, and what are its implications. So if we see Bharat Muni's rasa siddhanta, rasa theory, then what we can say, whatever an individual thinks, realizes, that can be made universal. So from this, the very concept of universal human values would get substantial, let us say, support. Okay, some values can be made universal. If all of us agree that these values are useful, let us say in Nepal, in India, in SAARC nations, in, let us say, whole Asia, or in whole world, then according to Bharata Muni, we can make them universal. So here is the Sadharanikaran Model of Communication. I am not going to discuss a lot about this. I just wanted to mention this because this is relevant here, and for further study you can have these resources. I have shared this PowerPoint presentation with Professor Nayak. You can get from there as well. So thank you. I have come to the end of my, let us say, presentation. But I'm here to receive your queries, feedback, and interact with you. Thank you. Namaste.